the concept of stress in the business world and what we can do to prevent it, and what are some of those tactics. So Kelly, if you don't mind addressing that question, I think you're probably the resident expert and we can all learn from you.
Do you know that we consume more information in one day than somebody about 300 years ago consumed in their entire life?
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the North Texas Community Difference Frisco Show. Happy New Year. This is episode 5 of the Frisco Show, and we are kicking off 2024 with some awesome guests. Got to meet them and talk to them backstage here. So excited to kick off the new year with the Frisco Show. This is the first one of the year. We are, like I said, in episode 5. Just really excited for the show in general. So this is one of the several community shows that we have here at The Difference. And as you saw in the intro, we have quite a list of sponsors, great businesses, and sports teams within Frisco. So I'm really excited to kick off 2024. Topic of this month. So if you haven't seen the show, what we do is we have guests on. We have rotating co-hosts today. We have Paul and Jacqueline. She's filling in for Steve Wood. So thanks, Jacqueline, for stepping in. But we have rotating co-hosts, and each one of them bring on guests. Local business owners, entrepreneurs, community leaders, nonprofit leaders, Frisco ISD leaders. Hi, Paul. What's going on, my man? And nonprofits, last but not least, nonprofits. So we put the spotlight on those type of folks in the community to really get their stories out, get their businesses out, and really build the community. And in this case, we're building the community around Frisco. So I operate out of Frisco, so I'm passionate about it. Wow, there's a lot of information there about me, but that is all my information. I own a property management company here in Frisco. We operate all throughout DFW. With that being said, Lendon, our Wizard of Oz behind the scenes, Lendon is the creator of The Difference. We've been together for 4+ years, rocking out this awesome platform of The Difference. Lendon, if you don't mind, let's bring on our co-hosts, Jacqueline and Paul. Hey, guys, how we doing?
What's up, Brian?
Not much, man. Good to see you guys.
I know. I feel like I just saw you like 5 minutes ago.
Well, hey, it's I can't get enough of you. Debbie, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you guys. Happy New Year to you.
I know. I mean, it's hard to believe it's January, and I think Jacqueline is probably like me. We've been off to a good start, so ready to see what this year brings.
Well, it's got to be better than last year in mortgage, right?
It's got to be better than last year. There's no doubt.
Yeah. Well, we're all in the real estate game together here, so we can all hold hands and say let's hope for a better 2024. I think people's mindsets are that the interest rates are going to be what they are, and they're not going to necessarily change anytime in the very near future. So hopefully that people get over that mental hurdle and start moving forward with some purchases here. But that being said, I wanted to call out the fact that you guys are both in mortgage, and I love the fact that you guys are both in mortgage and both co-hosting the show. We kicked it around a little bit before we came live on air here, but Jacqueline, you're also a member of the Plano show, which aired its first episode. Well, not first, its relaunch episode yesterday. So it was great to see you on that show. And you made a comment during that show that you were going to be co-hosting today. And thank you for stepping in for Steve Wood, who couldn't make it today. He's under the weather with the flu. So thank you for stepping in. And you made a great point in that, the community difference shows and what we're all about, just in the difference community in general, is about uplifting the community. It's not about, well, I'm in mortgage and so is Paul, so we can't be on the same show together.
Right.
You took the exact opposite mindset and said, you know what? Hey, there's enough business despite what happened in 2023. There's enough business to go around and enough connections to be made that let's get together and let's build this thing up instead of bashing each other down. So
funny enough, wasn't Paul, I think you and I probably talked the most when we did that networking thing at Christmas time.
Yeah,
we probably talked more than anybody else.
That's exactly what I was thinking about, because we had, I think it was Lyndon's birthday party, and we both found out we were in mortgage and all that. And I mean, it was, you and I were like, kind of didn't worry about anybody else, but just had a good chance, not only talking shop, but just, kind of getting to know each other a little bit, since we're all in this networking and podcasting group. But I feel the same way. I mean, and Jacqueline and I talked about that before the show. I mean, it's like she said, I mean, she and I can't do every mortgage in North Texas. And so and especially in this business and in this area of town, North Texas, there is plenty of business to go around with all the realtors and loan officers and even the banks. I mean, there are some things that Jacqueline may do better than me or vice versa. But, at the end of the day, we're friends. I mean, we're here to help each other, and we kind of all lock arms and move forward together.
Absolutely. I mean, I was going to say that I've been in this game a long, long time. And I think it's really funny when people take one stance or another, like, oh, brokers are better. Oh, direct lenders are better. Oh, banks are better. Oh, whatever is better. I'm like, no. I mean, we all have a place at the table. It just kind of depends on what the customer needs and like what they're looking for and also who they connect with, right? Just because they connect with me doesn't mean they'll connect with Paul or vice versa, right? Like they may be like, oh, Paul's my guy and Jacqueline's not. Like, that's okay. Perfectly fine. I'm not trust me when I say I know that.
Well, I love that abundance mindset, and that we all got together because we're like-minded, and that's what I love about this whole thing. So I'm glad that you guys hit it off, upon meeting. And yes, we all have good war stories that we can trade in the real estate industry. So we have that common bond, if nothing else. And like you said, there's plenty of business to go around. I'd be remiss too if I didn't say this, but everybody's contact information is going to be scrolling throughout the show. So please, this is an interactive show. If you want to reach out, feel free to comment, like, share. Also, if you want to reach out to any of the guests, any of the co-hosts, myself, whoever it may be, all our contact information is going to be scrolling on the bottom of the screen here. Alan Lester, what's up, my friend? Good to hear from you. And yep. Great points indeed. So
another mortgage guy.
That's right. Another one with horror stories, right?
Yeah, another mortgage guy. He's on the Rockwall show, so we're happy to see Rockwall watching today.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it's great to have everybody from all the communities chiming in. And that's what I was looking forward to yesterday on the Plano show. I was glad I got to watch it. So hey, let's go ahead and bring in our guests and co-hosts. I'm going to turn it over to you guys to give. We'll get them introduced. We'll take a quick break, and on the back end of that, we'll have our What's Up Frisco show. But let's go with ladies first. Jacqueline, why don't you go ahead and introduce your guests?
Yes, absolutely. So Ms. Kelly McCamey, who she does individualized health coaching. So she's your health guru when you can't figure out what's going on. She is really, really great about that. She's about the healthiest person I know. Probably the mortgage people need her more than anybody because we're the world's worst about not eating any really good food and just, consuming whatever's around us at the time. So Kelly and I have known each other for a while. We're in some different groups together, and she's very passionate about helping people.
Awesome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well, Kelly, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today.
I guess, so does that mean that we need to go take a look in Jacqueline's fridge to see, what she's snacking on?
I think it's interesting when people think about health, they automatically think of food. And that's one of the things that I coach on and help people understand that your health goes way. In fact, I call the food your secondary food, and your primary food is everything in your environment and everything outside of what you actually put in your mouth.
Wow, that's an interesting viewpoint. You're right. Everybody jumps to food, but I know sleep is important. I know exercise, all of that stuff. So the environment is a good way to think about that. That's a great point, Kelly. And the timing is right. Starting off the new year, everybody has resolutions. Everybody wants to eat healthier, sleep more, do all the things. So interested to dive into your business and, more importantly, your perspective here as we get into the show. So welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, Paul, go ahead and introduce your guest. I know I've had a little bit of the benefit, or I guess the pain that she's felt as well in the launching of her business. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But go ahead and introduce your guest.
Well, when this topic came up, I knew exactly who I wanted to have on the show. I met Julia a year ago. We're both in Frisco Chamber together, and she was, opening up her new store called the Pie Dish. And every week it was, a delay. And she just kept the most positive attitude the whole way, knowing I'm going to get it. And, she finally opened. We did her ribbon cutting for the Frisco Chamber in December. And so it is my honor to introduce Julia Hendricks, owner and creator and chef extraordinaire of the Pie Dish.
It's lovely to be here. Y'all are fantastic already, but Paul is entirely right. It was literally a year of one thing after another, and every possible delay we could have had, we had. We had construction issues. We had every kind of issue. But really and truly, we got there, and at the end, I get to make awesome pies and have a fantastic time being here doing it. So.
Well, Julia, thank you for coming on today. I joke around, but Paul hit the nail on the head when he said you always had a positive attitude. So I at the Thursday morning Frisco Chamber breakfasts, you'd always come up and give your 30 seconds with a smile on your face. And, despite the fact that, hey, we have another delay, but, we're looking at this date for the opening, you always had a smile on your face. And I love that positive attitude about you. So we talk about a business topic of the month, and the business topic is that highlighting local success stories, inspiring entrepreneurs in the community. Yours is an inspiring story because of the challenges. Not only because of the challenges, but the challenges make them unique to you. But I know others have felt that challenge as well when it comes to opening a business. So I'm looking forward to diving into that a little bit later on in the show, and to understand how you overcame a lot of those challenges, because that's, there's a lot to be said about what you went through.
Absolutely.
So awesome. Well, once again, everybody, thanks for joining us today. We do have to take a real quick commercial break, and on the backside, we're going to talk about What's Up Frisco. All right, welcome back, everybody, and thanks to all of our sponsors. It's great to see everybody on the sponsor list. With that being said, so I mentioned the What's Up Frisco segment. So what we do now is we're going to highlight some events, things happening around the community, highlight some of our business constituents, what they may have going on as well. Paul, I know you've got a few things that you want to do. Lennon, let's go ahead and play the sounder just because I love to hear.
What's up, Frisco?
Boom, there it is. All right, Paul, it's all yours, man.
Okay, so there is a friend of mine. Her name is Elizabeth Watkins, and she is the founder of Refresh Frisco, and then she also added one called for Refresh Little Elm. And what they do is they provide hygiene products for children in those ISDs. And so they're having their annual gala on January the 19th at Verona Villa, Brian, so you know where that is.
Yes, sir.
But that's January 19th at 6 p.m. You can jump on that website to register. But it's a really great cause, and Elizabeth is a pretty outstanding person, so happy to help her out. And then speaking of Frisco, there is the Frisco Young Professionals. That's a group within the chamber. They're doing I guess their first kickoff meeting January the 17th at Hall Park. You can go on the Frisco Chamber of Commerce website, and you'll see that on the calendar. You can link directly to that. I know Danae with the chamber kind of heads that up, and I think Jennifer Sellers Brown still does that, but I'm not sure. But if she doesn't, you can meet her when you go. And then the last one there's a North Dallas Business Connection Mixer. These guys have been doing this for a while. Jaden England of Goosehead Insurance and Michael Simmons of New York Life, they both host this, and it's at the Cambria Hotel also on January the 17th at 5:30. And Cambria Hotel, we have a really great Chamber of Commerce member, Aaron Brickhouse, that heads that thing up. And so go to the mixer. You might catch a glimpse of Aaron, especially with the Cowboys. He's a big Cowboys fan. So anyway, that's What's Up Frisco.
Thanks, Paul. Aaron's a great guy. He's not the greatest fancy football player, but I'll leave that for a future chamber breakfast. Although he's not the one wearing the toilet seat this year, but
that's right.
shout out to Aaron. I do have something on I want to mention. We've mentioned it on previous shows, but I want to give it another mention here because we are coming up on the selection day for the Miss Frisco, Texas Scholarship Pageant. So this is a fundraiser for young women between the ages of 17 and 25 years old. You can compete in this. The tryouts and the selection committee is happening at the NAC Theater in downtown Frisco, Friday, January 19th. And then the pageant itself will take place on February 17th at Verona Villa, which you've already mentioned, Paul, but that is owned by Jason Young, who was on our initial show, our initial kickoff show with guests. So, come check that out. Please support the effort. Again, it's a fundraiser for young women between the ages of 17 and 25 years old. So that is the What's Up Frisco segment. Again, if anybody has any ideas that they or events that they want to highlight, feel free to comment. You can put them in the comments so we have some visibility to it as well. But that's what we have for this week coming up. And with that, we'll shift gears a little bit to dive in a little bit more into our guests' businesses. So like I said, we've got the right timing of the year and in the beginning of the new year here. Kelly, I'd like to understand, tell us a little bit more about, what inspired you to open your business and start your business. Tell us about the journey, how you got to where you're at.
Sure, I would love to. And, I actually get asked the question all the time when people find out that my background for 35 years, I was a professional horse trainer and breeder at the national level. And so I always get asked the question, how did you get from horse trainer to health professional, and health coach? And it was actually the horse business that inspired me. I had the opportunity years ago to sit down with an equine nutritionist and implement some of the strategies as far as, giving our horses, our brood mares, and all of our breeding stock superior nutrition. And what we saw was a dramatic reduction in a lot of the joint-related issues, respiratory issues that our babies were being born with, that we were at that time blaming on genetics. And so when I saw these results with my own eyes, it just brought the question to me is, okay, we'll spend all this money making sure our animals, our horses, are healthy. And what I found is we will spend a lot of money, a lot of times, a lot more money and priority on our pets' health than we even focus on our own. So that really inspired me to, first of all, look at myself and understand that, hey, I'm really not very healthy and I'm not putting a lot of focus on my health. And so that just kind of began my own journey. And then I just wanted to share that with others and help other people learn how to be proactive with their health. And from a holistic standpoint, instead of reactive, waiting till you're sick, running to the doctor, what I call a Band-Aid to mask the symptoms, and be more proactive as far as preventing disease and illness in the first place. So that's how I made that transition, and that was about 15 years ago. And I actually just opened my private health coaching practice about a little over 2 years ago.
Well, that's fantastic. So who knew? You start treating horses right, and all of a sudden you're treating people right.
So I guess Kelly's going to make us run faster is kind of what I'm getting out of this.
Well, it could definitely increase your energy for sure. And I didn't mention, I do specialize in type 2 diabetes and weight loss. Those two seem to go together, but just a holistic and healthy way to help people reverse and get their type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes under control without medication.
Well, Paul, you sparked something in me with the running faster. One of our sponsors, co-hosts, the Frisco Fighters, and Andre Cole's the head coach of the Frisco Fighters. They're holding open tryouts here in the next few weeks by the end of January. So,
well, I can tell you that my running days are over with arthritis in both knees. So I'm going to let you maybe. Well, Lyndon was doing some running earlier, so maybe we push him out there, and our founder and creator, let him push out there and.
Nope, those days are gone.
I was
have
gonna say,
no
Paul.
interest anymore.
I was gonna say, Paul, you just need to get Kelly to help you fix your joints, and then you too can go
I
join
know,
that
you
group.
too, right? I
Right.
mean, I just opened my big mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
I can help with that. Inflammation, that's 97% of all disease, including arthritis. Anything that ends in itis is an inflammation-related disease. It's all reversible most of the time.
I was gonna say, and if we talk to Kelly, Chance might be a little upset because we're not gonna need to go to his ER very often.
That's right. That's right. He'll have more time to network.
Well, that means we can play more sports and have sports-related injuries to go to the ER for. So
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, it's like those in running, you could trip, fall. That's an ER visit.
That's right.
That is true. That is true.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that, Kelly. That's a very as we find on most of these shows and most of the guests we meet, everybody starts somewhere and then ends up a complete 180 or a very drastically different ending place. And who knows? It's not our ending place, right? Because who knows what's next? But it's always inspiring to hear where somebody started and what their weaving path may have gotten them to. So that's awesome.
Always a journey that we don't even expect.
That's right. And those are the best ones, right?
Well,
Right.
and Brian, when you get to ask Julia about her story, it is exactly that. So I can't wait for her to tell us how she got where she is.
Well, I mean, let's go, Julia. The floor is yours. I want to hear all about how you came to be the Miss Pie.
The pie queen.
The
The
pie
pie
queen.
lady, yes. So, all right. So my background is in biomedical engineering. That is what my degree is in. I spent a year for a PhD in it, and did advanced research into moldable, movable polymers, and stuff like that. Just stuff way beyond anything I really understand now anymore. But I loved it, and I realized PhD wasn't going to get me where I wanted to go, and so I went into the industry. First job I absolutely loved. I was a reliability engineer with Abbott Laboratories, and it was great, but I would have had to move cross country to get another job like that, and I wasn't willing to do that. So I went to a completely typical job for my degree, which is quality engineering. And I hated every single minute of it. I wanted to tear my hair out every single day, and it drove me absolutely crazy. And because it drove me absolutely crazy, obviously what you do is you go to therapy. And so at therapy, I was sitting and talking with my therapist about this one day, and I was sitting and talking for 2 hours. Instead about the job that I was losing, I instead talked about pies that I was going to make for Thanksgiving. It was September, and it was just like, the fact that I could talk about it for 2 hours was one piece, but the fact that September, 2 months early, I was already excited to talk about pies, just made this super tiny light bulb go off. And I sat and thought about it for a week. And at the end of the week, I went to my husband and I went, honey, I think I want to open a pie shop. And he gives me this really deep pondering look, like he is really thinking about it. And he goes, okay, we're going to have to do some research. And so that's what we did. Like, I sat and did the research. My mother-in-law, who's an absolutely brilliant woman, was like, well, do you have any experience in this industry? And I went, no. And she went, well, go get some. And I was like, well, of course. It's the most obvious answer in the world. And so I went and worked at a bakery for 9 months, and it was the best situation for me I have ever been in. Like, I was active. I was on my feet. Kelly's existence and how she treats people of, solve the environment around you. That's what I did. I went and solved the problem of my environment being the wrong setting for me. And so I just sat and worked at it for 9 months. And at the end of the 9 months, I said, okay, time to do this for myself. And so that's when I transitioned to full-time working on opening my own bakery. I did a 1.5 years of R&D on flavors. My husband's workplace is very, very happy whenever I make up new flavors because it means they get new pies to try. And so is my housemate's workplace. Like, he got pies sent to, and I've had lots of taste testers along the way that I have much thanks and gratitude for. And then really it became, how do we get open? And so I spent 6 months or 8 months looking for a location. Inevitably found my one in Frisco that I have now. And it wasn't a Gen 2, which is what I had been looking for. It wasn't in Plano, which is what I had been looking for. It wasn't any of the things I was looking for. But what happened was my realtor gave me a great piece of advice. And she said, go to the space that you're gonna have your business in and just sit there for 5 minutes and see what the vibe is. And so I did that, except the building wasn't built. So I sat across the street at the doctor's office next door and sat and watched the road and watched the people and watched everything for probably 15 minutes. And in that 5 to 15 minutes, I saw 500 cars go past on a Tuesday afternoon at 2 p.m. And I saw people walking, and I saw people looking around, and I saw people. And I was like, okay, we can do this. We can figure out how to find a community in big city Frisco, in massive city Dallas area, and we can figure out how to find small town community vibes and find that connection to people here. Okay, we can do this. And so I went and got the location, and then we began construction, and I will never do that again if I have to. No, like someday I might think about opening another location, but right now I'm good with what I've got. Like,
hold on that mothership for a while.
Oh yeah, like, you know, it was this big jump, and I really love you know, that what Kelly said in the comments of the taking that leap of faith of what we needed to do into what we could do, and that was just wonderful. So,
well, Julie, that is Paul, you didn't disappoint in saying that her story is awesome, because
no, it's good.
That is I mean, that is the entrepreneurial dream, right? Find something you love and that you're passionate about, and find a way to frickin' make it work, right?
Yeah.
And so what we do have to do is take a quick break here, but on the backside, I do want to dive into that concept of not only find a way to frickin' make it work, you went about it scientifically, and you went about it smartly, right? You didn't just, we're going to be in Plano, we're going to do this. So we'll get into that on the backside, because I love that about the way that you went about it. So Lennon, go ahead, let's hit the break, and we'll be back shortly. All right, welcome back, everyone. And, you know, what we've been doing, if you've missed the last, 20 minutes, half hour or so, we've been kicking around the business topic of the month, and that is highlighting local business owner success stories and inspiring entrepreneurs in the community. And if you missed it on the front end of the commercial break, Julie was walking through how she went from being a, what was it, biomedical engineer.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, that's such a heavy topic. I can't even put it into words. But as you were telling me your background,
thanks for her for switching careers, because I would have had a hard time talking about that other than like pies and things like that. So
yeah, you probably wouldn't be on the show if we were talking biomedical engineering. Actually, there's no probably about it. You definitely wouldn't be. So
I haven't watched the show yet, but have you watched Lessons in Chemistry? Because I think, Julia, you would like totally vibe with that show. It's like the science and the food components together.
It's so good. So, okay, so you mentioned something on the front end about breaking it down to a science. So that's exactly what I did. Like, everything got broken down to a science. Like, making flavors got broken down to a science. Like, if I have some amount, or, you know, this amount of cream cheese or mascarpone cheese base and some amount of flavoring, how much heavy cream do I need to, you know, make it work? Or how much flavoring do I need to get the flavor to come through once I add this much heavy cream? And it was literally just, I broke it down to a science. Everything got that, you know, break it down to a science aspect to it, of figure out what the raw ingredient that you needed was, whether that be a person, whether that be an actual ingredient, whether that be the connections that you build through Frisco Chamber of Commerce, stuff like that. Whatever the ingredient you needed to make it work, you just went through and figured it out. To give your comments, Lennon, how much product was wasted before you found the magic formula? Honestly, like, I worked with base recipes sometimes. And so it was really just like, you know, this one sort of worked, but we're going to add a little more. But it was never wasted, because I got to go send those out to people and have them try them and build a customer base and build people connections with the pies. And so that aspect of it, I don't think it would have ever been a waste of putting out a pie. Even if it wasn't perfect, it was still getting the word out, getting the name out, getting the ideas of the flavors out. It was just, I loved building my ingredient pool of people, just, and all of that. And I'm sure, Kelly, you do a lot of this sort of thing where you build the right ingredients to build a good environment, of whether that be good sleep, that be good, all of that sort of thing, and everything that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was listening to your story, which is absolutely amazing, I just love it. I was thinking about what my comment when Jacqueline was introducing me today, because I talked about primary and secondary food, and primary food is everything we don't put in our mouth. And when I first take on a coaching client, I had them fill out what I call a circle of life, and it has 12 different areas in it. And only 10 of those 12, 10 of those 12 have nothing to do with food. And one of them is career, one of them is financial. And so when I was listening to you describe taking that leap of faith and following your passion and doing something you love and leaving the corporate world and becoming an entrepreneur, that is a healthy thing to do. And I have several clients that have had them in the past where they're doing all the things, and we talk every week, and we're going through the list of everything that we said we were going to do, and they're not doing anything wrong, except when we get down to their career, it comes to find out, and we start peeling that onion, so to speak, we find out that they're really unhappy in their career, and that's keeping them from reaching their health goals. The stress, it can be a number of things, but your outside environment, your primary food is so important to your health, and you did something about that. So I love that. That was your magic ingredient.
I was going to ask you, Kelly, too. I mean, because that brings a big thing. When we're talking, you said earlier, food is kind of the least important part of like a healthy diet or healthy lifestyle. But you brought up the stress piece. I mean, stress management, anxiety. I mean, all of that can add, pounds on the frame more than a pizza or something like that, right? I mean, is that
right?
True?
Absolutely true. I have 5 different categories that when I'm coaching a client, we go through these 5 categories and figure out which one we need to focus on the most to get them to their health goals. Well, stress is the foundation. Always. You have to start. Mindset is at the top, because if you don't have the right mindset, you're never even going to get to building that foundation. But then you have to build the foundation with stress and look at that before you look at anything else. And it's important to understand that there's 2 different types of stress, chronic and acute. We can't control the acute stress. Things are going to happen. It's called life happens, and we all have it happen. We never know when it's going to happen. But the magic is understanding how to take that acute stress and not allow it to become chronic stress, and be able, and that's where the word stress management comes in, which sounds easier than it is. And there's a lot of different techniques, and you were talking about earlier about collaboration with people in your industry that do the same thing. I have so many relationships with other health coaches, and I refer to them a lot, especially stress management, because and then that client will come back to me, but they have to get their stress taken care of first.
I mean, and then of course, Julia dealt with it by making pies. In fact, it's funny, Jacqueline, I saw you type something in earlier, and you said, I'm going to go get a pie from Julia, and your company is PB&J Mortgage. So, Julia, do we have a PB&J pie out there anywhere that,
I feel like there should be one.
So one of the really cool things that we do, or that I do, it's now I do have an employee. So, one of the really cool things we do, is for larger orders, we do custom flavors. And so it's really just, you can come up with whatever idea you want of, for a wedding, it could be based on their first date meal, or for a company, it could be PB&J. It could be any sort of thing like that. You come to me with that sort of idea, and I create a pie flavor for you. And that sort of thing is just, I love it because I get to just go be creative and everything about it. But more importantly, it creates something unique for the person and for the memory of it. And you're building a connection with a person based on a pie. And that's why I love what I do, is because I get to connect with people using food, of all things. Like, I don't have to go tell my life story or anything. I just get to give them a pie, and all of a sudden their day is a little better. And that was like bringing joy from every occasion, from straight A's to birthdays, is our, vision motto, whatever you want to call it. And
I saw that on your website today, so I'm glad you mentioned that, because I thought that was very creative.
That's the whole point, is it doesn't matter what the occasion is. There is always the need for a little bit of joy.
I was gonna say, I like that, and I like that you're trying to remove stress. Kelly knows, because she and I have had several conversations offline, and I don't know if I told you, Paul, or not, but like one of my goals, and I've been working on it for a minute, is starting a charitable organization to actually go into like inner city school kids and teach them about like money and finance, stuff like that. Because like Kelly and some of the other people in our circle who are very health related, I did a whole presentation on how Paul and I's space and what we do for a living has so much effect on stress, because financial stress is literally the number one cause of like divorce. It's the number one cause of like all these challenges and problems. And a lot of that comes from lack of education, right? And so you don't have a good understanding, a good bedrock of like what that looks like from the finance perspective, not just like mortgage, like what we specifically do for a living, but just in general, right? Like how does credit work and what makes that happen correctly? What is, how do you best utilize your money? Are credit cards evil, or can they be utilized correctly? Right. And nobody teaches you any of this stuff in school, unfortunately. And so then people get bogged down, and then they get in jobs, Julia, like where you were, where you're just, maybe the job pays you really well, but then if it's stressing you the hell out, and makes you miserable, and like it's taking years off your life, like Kelly will tell you, is it really worth that stress either?
Right.
Really? No. And two, you can look at stress. What does it, cause you to do? Even though it's an excuse, what do people do when they get stressed? Comfort eat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Comfort food.
Well, and we do all kinds of things when we get stressed. We bog ourselves down with what we, are, worrying about and all of that. And we just overanalyze everything about being stressed. And that just stresses us out more. And so that's, I'm a big proponent of good mental health. And so that's my, I very much am the supporter of go talk to a therapist, go, talk to someone. I don't care who it is, but talk to someone about what is causing all of this stress for you and what is causing all of this mental anguish for you. Because it could be something as simple as a lifestyle thing, or it could be something as complex as, chronic anxiety and stuff like that. So,
and, I thought of something. I know we got to take a break here soon, but even though our topic is, success stories of entrepreneurs, which both of y'all are, these are this is part of the story. It's a real part of the story, is, not just the dream of having your own business and kind of the rainbows and kitty cats, the fun parts. There's the real parts. And so I think y'all have done a great job of kind of explaining your own story on how you kind of got through that. So really good.
All right. Hey guys, we need to jump to a commercial break. What I do want to do on the back end, Ethan, thanks for chiming in. Thanks for liking the show as well. Ethan asked a great question here about stress in the business world and what we can do to prevent it. So Kelly, on the back end, what I'd like you to do, if you don't mind, just address that question, because I think it's a great one. And then what I'd also like to do is, anybody who's listening here who maybe, they may be in the corporate grind, they may be going through that mental stress, right? We've got multiple people on the show who use their inspiration to start their own business and then execute it on it. So I want to walk through some of that and how that went down for you guys on the back end. But first we'll address that stress question, because I think it's super important. And then we'll get into that, those other two questions. But right now we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back. Damn, we got some good looking hosts. I like to say that every time. We clean up so well. All right. So we tease it on the front end of the commercial break, and that is Ethan Donovan's question. So thanks again, Ethan, for chiming in. But the concept of stress in the business world and what we can do to prevent it, and what are some of those tactics. So Kelly, if you don't mind addressing that question, I think you're probably the resident expert, and we can all learn from you.
Okay, I would be happy to. And I see this all the time, and I myself, we all struggle with this. And I think the first step is to become aware that you are stressed. A lot of people don't even understand the impact it's having on their health because they don't know they're stressed as much as they are. But I think we have to recognize too, as entrepreneurs or businessmen and women, that we just can't do it all, and we tend to try to just take everything on ourselves. And learning how to let go and delegate, and it's hard sometimes because we think if it's not that we have, for it to be done right, we have to do it ourselves. And so that's a process and a learning curve in and of itself. I mentioned I refer out. I have a personal friend. Actually, she's a mutual friend of Jacqueline and I, and she is actually a stress coach. And she now has her private practice, but she used to coach executive, high level, C-level executive business coach is what she did. And she would go into these large corporations and coach their executives on reducing their stress. And then as a result, the businesses flourished because of the work she did with them. So I refer to her a lot. And if someone wants to contact me, I can definitely get you her information. But I think just to help you prioritize things, just hire a business coach or have an accountability partner and talk through some things and learn how to, we say time management, and you can't manage time, in my opinion. You can manage choices and you can prioritize. And I think that when, as an entrepreneur and a business owner, you get a little bit of handle on how to do that and not freak out at the end of the day if you didn't get all the checks on your list checked. It's okay. They'll still be there if you prioritize correctly. And then also balance. I think this word is overused, or I think with social media, we tend to look at other people's lives and think, oh, they have it all together. And then we look at ourselves and we're so hard on ourselves because we tend to think, gosh, why can't I have life balance, family and spiritual and health and work and finances and all of that stuff perfectly balanced. And I have news for you. You will never be perfectly balanced. And the sooner that you realize that and be okay with it, we can certainly do things to be more balanced. And you always want to have that as a goal. But again, we're too hard on ourselves when we know that we don't have that balance achieved. So I think just recognizing some of those things, and don't be afraid to ask for help, either through a business coach or someone like a stress coach like my friend.
I was going to say, Kelly, you were talking about being kind with yourself. Giving yourself grace is a huge factor. Something that I've learned a lot in the last year or two, really heavily. And I read a really interesting statistic a couple of weeks ago. Do you know that we consume more information in one day than somebody about 300 years ago consumed in their entire life? Entire life. Think about that for a minute, right? So you're being constantly bombarded by all these things, and we're so not used to giving ourselves grace because we feel like, well, I have to do more, and there's just more. Well, you're feeling that way because there's this influx of information on you. It's okay to put the boundary up and be like, no, I'm going to put do not disturb on. Especially and Paul and I can attest, in our world, people love to try to push our boundaries, right? They want what they want and they want it right this second. I need a pre-qualification and it's 11:30 at night and I don't care that you have a life or you're trying to go to sleep. Who cares? Get it to me right now. And it took me a long time to respect myself in the industry to just say, you know what? It's okay to have a boundary. You know what I mean? And say this is my cutoff. I'm not going to allow you to push past this. And if that means that you're not going to do business with me, that sucks. But on the same token, for my own stress own health and my own well-being, and that I can serve all my clients better and more effectively, right?
Well, and
Right.
I think that's the thing, Jacqueline, is that, you're not going to give the best version of you at 11:30 at night, and if you're, stressed out. I mean, Kelly brought it
Correct.
up, and I wrote down, I've got my notepad over here that I always take notes on, but I wrote down self-awareness, but yeah, the stress piece, and, need you at all hours of the day. It does not serve you well, and it definitely doesn't serve your clients well. Because, I mean, at 11:30 at night, I mean, I'm trying to keep the kitty cat from meowing, and all the other stuff, all the other stresses in life. But no, I mean, I can certainly attest to what you're saying. So, hey, you want to give your clients the best, and 11:30 at night might not be it. So
Yeah, and Jacqueline, you made a good point too about wanting that instant. Everybody wants everything now, and I see this a lot with, especially in the weight loss industry, the magic pill, the magic whatever to help you lose weight fast. It might be unhealthy, but I think we can apply this to other industries and other categories of our life. It's very unhealthy to try to do things fast, and we are bombarded with all this information, and we do need to slow down. And there's a great book out there called No Shortcuts to the Top, and it was written it might have been written by Ed Visters. I'm probably mispronouncing his name, the famous
Mountain climber.
Climber, yes. And so that's the analogy, and he talks about when it comes, if you're not at the summit, if you still like 10 minutes reaching the summit, you don't go ahead and take that 10 minutes. You turn around and go back down, even if you're only 10 minutes away, because it's your life, and there's just no shortcuts. And I think we need to take that serious in other parts of our life, especially our business life. And we would reduce a lot of stress just trying to take the shortcuts, because sometimes they're life-threatening shortcuts.
Well, I've got, I was thinking about, when we talk about stress and work, and, when the best version of you, for your clients, Julia is in one of the highest stressed environments, being in hospitality, and, the owner of a business. I mean, because, rent is still due, and, your vendors still need to get paid and all that. And so I was going to ask you, I mean, after your, first month in business, how are you handling, those types of things? I mean, you probably had some successes and some challenges and maybe some opportunities. So
it's one of those, like, you get really happy about the small things. Like, we made rent for the month, and you get happy about the little things. Like, you know what? I had 10 families come in 2 days, and the little kids asked for stickers, and I got to give them stickers. And just, you get so happy and excited for the small things that you get to do, because you know that the big stuff is still there and looming. But it's being excited and happy for those small things, reveling in the little tiny joys of life. Those are really what is my stress reliever. Like, those are how I solve stress, is I go find the little things that help me deal with the big things. Because if you fix okay, so it's The Martian, and it's an excellent movie, excellent book, but he has a quote, and he goes, you just solve a problem, and then you solve another, and then another. And if at the end of the day you solved enough problems, you get to go home. And that's it. That's exactly it, is just you figure out how to solve the problem. And that's all me opening the shop ever was figuring out how to solve the problem. And you know what? We have another problem. Okay, let's figure out how to solve this one. But managing stress during that, really, I had to, for a lot of it, rely on things like exercise, rely on things like therapy, rely on things like, occasionally I would stress eat and stuff like that. But, you try to rely on the good things more than the bad. And that's how you get the stress actually dealt with. And so I would talk it out with my therapist every 2 weeks and be like, this is what's going on, and this is, the crazy things that have happened. And she'd be like, all right, well, what's the reasonable response to it? And I'm like, that it was crazy. And she was like, okay, then you had a reasonable response. Realize that. And she's actually Jacqueline, exactly what you said. She was the one who first told me, you have to learn how to give yourself grace. Because if you can't give yourself grace, if you can't give yourself the littlest bit of an inch to move, you're never going to be able to move forward. And that has just stuck with me. And someone else said to me once, you give so much grace to the people around you. How do you manage to do it? And I said, there's a TV show that basically taught me that you never know what kind of day someone's having. It could be the best day of their life. It could be the worst day of their life. It could be anything in between. But you don't know what kind of day they're having. Why do you have the right to do anything else other than try to make it better? And that's all I want to ever do, is be the little bit of joy that helps make someone's day better, whether it's a good day or a bad day. That's how I think we deal with stress in the workplace and deal with stress overall, is by being better people to each other and being supportive of each other and building this community that we found into a community that can support each other. So
I was going to say, there's something that somebody told me and it really stuck with me. And they said nobody shows up trying to do badly. Like, they don't show up to work like trying to do a bad job. And so, like, if you kind of keep that in your mind and remind yourself that they may be having a bad day, and that may be what's projecting out, but like, it's not like they did it on purpose. Like, they're not like showing up to be a jerk to you. If you kind of keep that in your head, it's a lot easier to be kind to people, I guess. And remind yourself that you can only control what you can control, which is you. Like, that's literally all you can control. So you can't control their attitude. You can't control the crazy circumstance. Like, Julia, you know this more than anybody, with all the red tape you probably had to go through opening up your place, the delays and
it's exactly that. It's, you can only control your reaction to it. Like,
exactly.
I can be mad. I can go break things. I can go be really angry and yell at things. Like, what is that going to solve? Like, Paul, you said earlier at the beginning, you were amazed that I always came in with a smile. And it was literally, it was just, what is being angry going to solve?
Right.
And so you can be angry about it, but then you let it go. Like, hey, I'm pissed off. This is a crappy situation. But then, like, okay, I'm going to let that go. And now I'm going to see the positives and I'm going to move forward.
Exactly. And that really, that ability to forgive not just them, but yourself about it, and give that grace to yourself of like, okay, it didn't work out the first time, but we're gonna try again. We're gonna figure it out. Or something happened and yeah, it was bad, but we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna try again and we're gonna get it right this time. That is so critically important in how we treat people and how we treat ourselves.
Lessons in business. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Paul, you nailed it right there. It's, you know, we've talked about the inspiration that both you guys as our guests have had to launch your business, and the challenges. We haven't dove into those, and we're not going to. But we know, Julie, I know for a fact that you've faced a ton as you've gone about trying to open your store. And Kelly, I'm sure you've got some good stories behind, you know, transitioning from the horse business into your health consulting business. It's how you deal with those and really how you get over those. And for anybody listening, if you've been inspired to start a business and, you know, you've made excuses or found relevant excuses or relevant reasons why it couldn't be done, there's probably a million other reasons why it could be done. And if one of those is, well, I'm going to face this problem or that problem and that problem, you know, the guests that we have on today are examples of how you can overcome those and the mindset that it takes to overcome those. And truly inspirational, just listening to your guys' stories to me. So thank you for sharing that. Not only that, but also the perspective that you've had throughout all of it. Because that, you know, that mindset and that perspective is gonna take you a lot further than where you are today, and that's pretty far already. So that's pretty awesome. So what we do have to do right now is take a quick break. We've gone pretty heavy on the topics. On the backside, we're going to go a little bit lighter, and we're going to do a little rapid fire and have a little bit of fun on that. So we'll do that rapid fire on the back end. All right, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us as long as you have. Hopefully, you've gotten a lot out of our discussion topic today, and that is, you know, shining. Hold on, let me get this right. I'll read it correctly here. Highlighting local success stories and inspiring entrepreneurs in the community. So we have two wonderful examples of that today. So again, thank you, Kelly and Julia, for sharing your stories and, hopefully inspiring some folks out there, because I'm inspired. I've started a business and I'm inspired, and it makes me want to go run out and start another one, or at least expand the one that I have. So,
Portillo's is already taken, Brian. I'm sorry.
I know. And they're already in the area. That was actually one of the ones that I thought, I'm like, how can I get in touch with the right folks to bring that business down here? And lo and behold, they went public and launched down here. So
yeah.
Somebody else is getting rich off of that idea. All the shareholders, hopefully. But no, it's that sort of inspiration that, hopefully you'll push somebody over the edge there to just go ahead and do it. Right. Julia's your example of, working with all the R&D folks. And I actually have a similar experience on my side. I was involved in launching new products with PepsiCo and Frito-Lay and Quaker and Tropicana. And we worked with the R&D folks to come up with new flavors. So they were always some of the most eccentric, fun people to be around. So,
it's so much fun.
yeah. And we had a lot of fun testing some of the new flavors back then too. But I love the fact that you took that and ran with it on the business that you started. So that, I can relate from that perspective, because I came from similar but different, food platform. But anyway, like I mentioned before the commercial break, we have a segment called Rapid Fire. So I'm going to go around the horn and ask you guys a question. No need to go deep unless you really want to. But they'll be kind of off the wall questions, maybe some normal questions. We'll see what happens. We'll see what my magic ball brings up today. Since we are the Frisco show, I do want to make sure that we get a Frisco specific question in. And that is, what is your favorite place to go to eat dinner? Not necessarily go get a pie, but favorite place to go eat dinner in Frisco. And we'll go ladies first. Julia, you're up first. Go for it.
Cane Rosso at the Star.
Okay, good call.
Amazing Neapolitan pizza.
We did a ribbon cutting for Dee Dee's over there on Main, and I'd never been there, but we went and ate, and it was fantastic. The chef owned, which is big for me, so I give mine to Dee Dee's.
Props to Dee Dee's, downtown Frisco. There you go. Kelly, what's your choice?
That's a hard question, because Frisco has so many great restaurants, but I have to go to one of the older ones, and that's Randy's Steakhouse.
Right next door.
Right, yeah. another downtown location. Love it. Jacqueline, what you got?
It's so hard for me because I'm such a foodie and I like all the food. I've been on an Asian kick lately, so it's probably either going to be Dumpling House. I like it pretty good. I like Simply Thai pretty good. And if I'm not going Asian, maybe Dave's Hot Chicken. And if you guys haven't eaten it, I guess technically it's right over the line in Plano, but man, it's so good.
I haven't been there. Is it good?
Really good. Their food is very consistently good. And if you can hack spice, which I'm a spice weenie, I will admit, but they got some pretty spicy chicken. If you can,
that's why they invented ranch.
Yeah, that's a good point. Their sauce is really good too. So I feel like Cane's is good, but like if you don't have the sauce, the chicken's just kind of meh. Dave's right. You can eat it by itself and it's really good.
Good to know.
And I'll go with one of the first places I ever ate here, and that was Kenny's Burger Joint, right on 121 and Legacy. So haven't had a burger as good since. And Ethan's trying
literally their fries too are so good. Their truffle parmesan fries. If I go on a diet, I legitimately dream about those fries. I will talk about them probably on every show you see me on, Brian, because they're my favorite.
And they got good milkshakes too.
And Kelly will have to come up with an antidote for their fries on the health plan. I did see Ethan Donovan chimed in. He said Babe's Chicken. Yep, I would second that.
Did we ask Julia?
Yeah.
Joy, what was
the
yours,
Cane Russo.
Cane Rosso.
Yeah.
That's right, the Neapolitan pizza.
Neapolitan pizza. The CBF with just chicken bacon and pesto sauce. Absolutely amazing.
All right. Question number 2. Frisco's known to have pretty much everything here, but it doesn't have everything. So what is the one thing Frisco is missing? And I'm going to go reverse order this time. Jacqueline, you're first.
Oof, that's hard. I'm trying to think because now my brain's on food, so I don't know if it's food we're missing. I feel like we're not really missing a lot of food. If we're gonna go shopping, which is another thing that I like to do quite a bit of. We don't have a Rothy's, and I'm sure you guys are like, "What the heck is Rothy's?" But they're these amazing shoes that you can like literally throw in the laundry and wash. Austin has one for some reason, but we don't have one in DFW. And I suspect they'll get here eventually, and it might be in the Frisco area is my guess.
Yeah, Kelly, what you got?
Wow, I'm still thinking. Frisco has pretty much everything.
I know.
That is
or they're getting everything like Universal and all these other crazy things they're getting. So
that was the first thing that came to my mind was like an amusement park, and I'm like, nope, wait, we've got that coming. So I am drawing a blank. I mean, I will tell you that anytime I want to recommend something or whatever, I always look at Frisco first because I feel like they have everything. But I guess just because of my horse background, I would say something more to do with horses. I don't know if they have like a polo. I know Plano the polo field is out my direction here. So maybe something polo related.
Okay, I like it.
That's good.
Paul, what about you?
All right. Well, my wife and I travel to Nashville quite a bit. We like the Nashville like live music scene. And that's kind of what I wish there was something in Frisco that had like a little stretch of, some live music, kind of specific, to like the, I mean, I know Nashville is hard to recreate, but something along those lines, I think would be pretty cool.
Well, they're working on like a Broadway street, downtown Frisco. You got our guest last week, the owner of Rockin' Tacos, and they've got live music there. So, and Dee Dee's downtown also has live music. So,
yeah, they're getting there.
Could be our Broadway or Nashville reincarnation here.
So
right, Julia.
I gotta go food, mostly because I'm in Houston right now, and I'm from Houston, which means I miss exactly one thing, and that's really good Cajun food. I have yet to find really good Cajun food. So, like, if really good Cajun food could come to Frisco, I would be really happy.
That's funny that Ethan says Tim Hortons. Have you guys ever had a Horny Tim's? Some of you probably have towards. Well, I would assume you've had it, Brian. Is it up in Chicago?
Tim Hortons, no. But yeah, as a hockey fan, I can see where Ethan's coming from. It's a Canadian thing, and
yeah.
I can see that. Good call.
I was gonna say that's why I like all you people from other states. Everyone says don't come here. No, that's not true. Please come here and bring all your food.
That's right. We got money to loan, and we got homes to buy. Let's go.
Exactly. Paul and I will help you buy the house, and then Julia will serve you all the pies. Then Kelly will make sure your mental state is good or whatever. Brian will manage your rental properties. It's fine. Bring all your food too, though, when you come.
Right. We're the true one-stop shop.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that. And mine on that same note is Lou Malnati's. There's not a Chicago deep dish place down here that does it well. Lou Malnati's is the best, so we need to get that down here.
So I agree. When I was in Chicago, I ate a couple of different deep dishes, and I agree with you. I think Illuminati.
Yeah,
and you know what? I'm surprised they have one in Arizona. Why do they not have one here, Brian? You should get on that.
So I'll have to work on that. I had that same idea with Portillo's. That's already the horses left the barn on that one, so we'll have to figure out how to get Lou's.
Either that or Giordano's.
Giordano's is good, but Lou's is just we're talking
the
like
butter crust, man. It's just
it's just they're both great. It's just which one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey guys, we are unfortunately out of time. I've had a great time today, and time flies when you're having fun. So what I do want to do is put a bow on this and make sure that everybody knows who you are, what you do, and how to get in contact with you. So what we'll do is go around the horn. We're gonna let the guests go first. Kelly, we'll let you go first. So again, just remind the audience what you do, what your business is, and then how to get a hold of you.
Sure. So my business is To Be the Best You, health consult or health coaching services. I specialize in type 2 diabetes and healthy, holistic weight loss with a focus on helping you create your own personal plan. I am not a fan of the D word, the diet, the program, the plan, the cookie cutter approach. I like to help you figure out what works for you. The best way to get me is just call me or text me at 214-244-0810, or you can find me at Instagram, just Kelly Health Coach.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly. And as we go around the horn, the information will be scrolling to the bottom. So if you miss it as they're talking, it is also on the scroll. Julia, why don't you go ahead?
So I'm Julia Hunricks. I'm the owner of The Pie Dish. We are a bakery that specializes in non-traditional cream-based pies. I don't do any traditionals. I do all of my own unique flair of things. And the best way to get in contact with me is either at yummy@thepie-dish.com or the contact info below.
Awesome. Thank you, Julia. Jacqueline, why don't you go ahead?
I am Jacqueline Kreider. I run PBJ Mortgage, where we are making mortgage simple. As simple as making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That literally is the tag. And the easiest way to get in contact with me is you can either go to our website, which is www.pbjteam.com, or you can always reach us at our phone number, or my cell is the one that's scrolling at the bottom. So love to help you in any way we can.
Awesome. Thank you, Jacqueline. And Paul, how about yourself?
Okay. Well, my name is Paul Fisher. I'm a mortgage loan officer with Certainty Home Lending. We do, of course, primary residence, investment properties, second homes, anything in Texas. And I'm licensed basically from Texas to Florida and Colorado, so I can help you with those second homes in other states as well. Part of the Frisco Chamber, which is I'm an ambassador for them, and it's always an exciting time to be a part of Frisco. To get a hold of me, you just go to my website at loansbyfisher.com or anything that's scrolling at the bottom.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. And you can get a hold of anybody. Obviously, you've heard all the information, but it's also available. All the contact information is available in the comments on both Facebook and YouTube. So go ahead and look it up there as well. Ethan, thank you. Great. Thanks for chiming in today. All our guest co-hosts, thank you guys so much for being on today. It really was a pleasure getting to know you better. And getting to know your businesses and really everything about you and your mindsets too. That's always inspiring to me. So thank you very much for that. Paul and Jacqueline, thanks for co-hosting today. Always great to be with you guys. Jacqueline, great to have your guest there, like in person, your little dog there.
Yeah.
What's up?
This is Peanut Butter. This is one of the mascots. She
What's
has
up,
a sister
Peanut Butter?
named Jelly, and that really is the truth. If you see that photo of me when they run the thing, that's Peanut Butter and Jelly, the dachshund mascots and sisters.
All right. Well, good looking little hound. But again, thanks everybody for joining us today. We'll be back next week, same topic, and we'll dive deeper with two new guests. But again, thank you guys for your time and have a great weekend. See y'all.
Thanks, Julia. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you for watching today's show.